This morning, you stayed clean without even thinking about it. You showered, you used soap, you brushed your teeth, you put on deodorant, you flushed a toilet and washed your hands with running water. A dozen small rituals done on autopilot before you were even fully awake. But every single one of them is brand new. For 300,000 years, none of it existed. No soap, no toothpaste, no deodorant, no toilets, no clean running water. So how did ancient humans stay clean? The answer is stranger, grosser, and far more surprising than you think, because the truth is, in some ways they were cleaner than you'd ever expect, and in other ways the reality will genuinely make you uncomfortable. Let's get into it. Start with the most basic problem: no soap. Soap as we know it did not exist for most of human history, so how do you clean a body without it? The answer is that ancient humans were remarkably clever about it. The first and simplest tool was water. Rivers, lakes, and streams were not just for drinking, they were for washing. A daily rinse removed most dirt and sweat long before any soap existed. But they went further. Many ancient peoples used sand and ash to scrub the skin, scraping away grime the way you might scour a dirty pan. Others rubbed oils into their skin and then scraped them off. The ancient Romans turned this into an art. They would coat their bodies in olive oil, then use a curved metal tool called a strigil to scrape the oil off, and with it, all the dirt, sweat, and dead skin the oil had loosened. No soap, just oil and a blade. It actually worked, and bathing was not always a lonely private act either. In many ancient cities, washing became a public ritual. People gathered at communal baths and natural springs, not just to clean themselves, but to talk, relax, and spend time together. Getting clean was social. It was something you did with other people, not hidden away behind a locked door. So the idea that ancient humans were filthy is already wrong. They cared about being clean. They had methods. They just weren't your methods. Now let's talk about teeth. You brushed yours this morning with a plastic brush and minty paste. Ancient humans had neither, so surely their teeth were rotting messes, right? Wrong. And this is the first part that genuinely surprises people. To clean their teeth, many ancient cultures used something called a chew stick, a small twig, frayed at one end into soft bristles rubbed against the teeth and gums. Simple, but it worked. Here is the shocking part. When scientists examine the teeth of ancient hunter-gatherers, they find something unexpected. Their teeth were often in remarkable condition, strong, straight, with very few cavities, far better in many cases than the teeth of the people who came after them. Why? Because cavities are largely caused by sugar and processed grains, and ancient hunter-gatherers ate almost none. The explosion of rotten teeth in human history did not come from a lack of toothbrushes. It came later, with farming, with grain, and eventually with sugar. The ancient human with nothing but a twig often had a healthier mouth than people thousands of years later with far more knowledge. But here is the part nobody talks about. The part where you stop being impressed and start being uncomfortable. The bathroom problem. Because here is the simple truth. For almost all of human history, there was no toilet paper, so what did people use? The answer depended on where you lived, and almost none of it sounds pleasant. Some used leaves, some used moss or grass, some used water, some in colder or drier places used stones. And the ancient Romans, who built some of the most advanced public toilets in the ancient world, had a particularly memorable solution. In their public latrines, they kept a sea sponge attached to the end of a stick. After using the toilet, you would use the sponge. Then you would rinse it and leave it for the next person. The same sponge, shared by everyone. Take a moment with that. And these public toilets were not private at all. They were long stone benches with holes cut into them side by side where people sat together in a row and chatted while they did their business. No stalls, no doors, no privacy whatsoever. Going to the bathroom was a social event. This is the part of the answer you were warned about. And it gets more personal than that, because ancient humans did not just share toilets. They lived constantly with things on their bodies that would horrify you. Lice, fleas, parasites. For most of human history, these were not an occasional problem. They were a permanent fact of life. Almost everyone had them, and ancient humans dealt with them the same way their primate relatives do. They groomed each other. They sat together and picked through each other's hair, removing lice and dirt by hand, one by one. And here is the strange, almost beautiful part. This grooming was not just about being clean. It was a bonding ritual, the same way monkeys and apes groom each other to build trust and friendship. Ancient humans did too. To sit and clean someone's hair was an act of closeness, of care, of love. The thing you would find most disgusting on picking parasites off another person was, for them, one of the warmest things you could do. And one more thing. Everyone smelled. There was no deodorant, no perfume for most people. Everyone carried the scent of sweat and smoke and earth. But here is the key. When everyone smells the same, no one notices. Body odor only became something to hide when we invented the idea that humans were supposed to smell like nothing at all. So let's put it together. Ancient humans washed with water, sand, and oil. They cleaned their teeth with twigs and often had healthier mouths than us. They shared sponges and open toilets. They lived with parasites and groomed each other as an act of love. They were not filthy savages. They were clean in the ways that mattered to them, and at peace with a level of dirt and bacteria that would send a modern person running for the disinfectant. And that brings us to the most surprising truth of all. Here is the part that should stay with you. We have declared total war on dirt. We have antibacterial soap, hand sanitizer, disinfectant for every surface. We scrub our homes and our bodies until they are nearly sterile. We have become the cleanest humans in all of history, and our bodies are rebelling against it. Scientists have noticed that as our world has gotten cleaner and cleaner, certain conditions have exploded. Allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases. One leading explanation is called the hygiene hypothesis. The idea is simple. Your immune system was built over 300,000 years to live in a world full of dirt, bacteria, and microbes. It expects them. It needs them to learn how to behave. When you remove them all, when you raise a body in a sterile world, the immune system with nothing real to fight can start attacking the wrong things, including your own body. Ancient humans lived in balance with the invisible world of bacteria all around them. We tried to erase it, and there is growing evidence that in winning that war, we may have made ourselves sick in entirely new ways. For 300,000 years, humans were never truly clean. They were never meant to be. They lived in a world of dirt, and their bodies were built for exactly that world. We scrubbed that world away, and our bodies, still ancient, still expecting the dirt that shaped them, are only now beginning to ask us where it all went.